Have you ever wondered why we're here? What makes something right or wrong? Whether we can truly know anything for certain? These aren't just idle questions. They've shaped civilizations, sparked revolutions, and continue to influence how billions of people understand their place in the universe. What if I told you that a single discipline has been wrestling with humanity's deepest questions for over 2,500 years? From ancient Greece to modern universities, this tradition has produced some of history's most brilliant minds. Socrates willing to die for the pursuit of truth, Descartes questioning everything he thought he knew, and thinkers like Simone de Beauvoir challenging how we see ourselves and our societies. This isn't just academic debate, it's about how you live your life. The phone in your pocket, the rights you value, the way science works, all shaped by philosophical ideas. Today, we're diving into philosophy, the love of wisdom that continues to transform our world in ways you might never have imagined. Welcome everyone. Today we're exploring philosophy, a word from the Greek philosophia meaning love of wisdom. I'm excited to guide you through this fascinating subject that's often misunderstood, yet incredibly relevant to our everyday lives. Philosophy isn't just about bearded men from ancient times pondering abstract questions. It's a living, breathing discipline that provides us with tools to think critically, question assumptions, and search for deeper meaning. Throughout this video, we'll explore the major branches of philosophy, meet some of its most influential thinkers, and see how philosophical ideas continue to shape our world today. Whether you're completely new to philosophy or have some background knowledge, my goal is to make these sometimes complex ideas accessible and show you why they matter. By the end of our journey, you'll have a clearer understanding of what philosophy is, how it works, and perhaps even how it can enrich your own thinking. Before we define philosophy, let's clear up some misconceptions. Philosophy isn't just abstract thinking with no practical application, the same as religion, though they address some similar questions. Only relevant to academics and intellectuals, a fixed set of answers to life's big questions. So what is philosophy? At its core, philosophy is the systematic and critical examination of fundamental questions about knowledge, reality, existence, values, reason, mind, and language. It's both a body of knowledge developed over centuries and an activity, a way of thinking and questioning. What makes philosophy distinct is its methodology. Philosophers emphasize logical reasoning and argument, clarification of concepts, identification of assumptions, systematic analysis of ideas, evaluation of evidence, and justification, while science asks how. Questions about the physical world through observation and experiment. Philosophy often asks why, questions about meaning, value, and foundations that go beyond what can be directly observed. Philosophy is divided into several major branches, each focusing on different fundamental questions. Metaphysics asks questions about the nature of reality. What is real? Does God exist? Do we have free will? What is the nature of time and space? Metaphysics explores what exists beyond the physical world we can observe. Epistemology investigates knowledge itself. How do we know what we know? What is truth? What are the limits of human understanding? Can we ever have certain knowledge? This branch examines the foundation of all our claims to knowledge. Ethics concerns questions of right and wrong. What makes an action good? How should we live? What do we owe to others? Ethics helps us think about moral principles and their application to real-world dilemmas. Logic studies the principles of valid reasoning. What makes an argument sound? How can we identify fallacies? Logic provides tools for distinguishing good reasoning from bad. Aesthetics explores beauty and art. What makes something beautiful? What is the purpose of art? How do we judge artistic merit? This branch helps us understand our relationship with beauty and creative expression. Political philosophy examines questions about society and governance. What makes a just society? What rights should people have? How should power be distributed? This branch has shaped governments and social movements throughout history. Philosophy has evolved through distinct periods, each building on what came before. Ancient philosophy, 600 BCE, 500 CE. The Western tradition began in Greece with the pre-Socratics questioning the natural world. Socrates introduced the dialectical method, questioning assumptions to reach truth. His student Plato developed the theory of forms and wrote dialogues exploring justice, knowledge, and reality. Aristotle, Plato's student, created comprehensive systems covering everything from logic to ethics to biology. Meanwhile, Eastern philosophical traditions developed in China with figures like Confucius focusing on ethics and social harmony, and in India where philosophical schools like Buddhism examined the nature of consciousness and suffering. Medieval philosophy 500-1500 philosophy became intertwined with religious thought. Thinkers like Augustine and Aquinas worked to reconcile Greek philosophy with Christian doctrine. Islamic philosophers like Avicenna and Averroes preserved and expanded on Greek texts while developing their own philosophical systems. Modern philosophy 1500 to 1900, the scientific revolution and enlightenment brought new approaches. René Descartes began with systematic doubt to find certain knowledge. John Locke and David Hume developed empiricism, arguing knowledge comes from experience. Immanuel Kant attempted to reconcile these approaches with his critical philosophy. The 19th century saw the rise of idealism with Hegel, materialism with Marx, and existential questions with Kierkegaard and Nietzsche. Contemporary philosophy, 1900-present. Philosophy diversified further with movements like analytic philosophy focusing on language, logic, and science, continental philosophy examining existence, interpretation, and power, pragmatism developing practical approaches to philosophical problems, feminist philosophy challenging gender assumptions in traditional thought, non-Western philosophical traditions gaining greater recognition. Globally, philosophy isn't just historical. It shapes our world in concrete ways, technology and ethics. As AI and biotechnology advance, philosophical questions about consciousness, identity, and ethics become increasingly urgent. Who is responsible when an autonomous vehicle causes harm? What limits should we place on genetic modification? Politics and justice. Political movements draw on philosophical ideas about rights, freedom, and equality. Debates about free speech, privacy, economic systems, and environmental justice all have philosophical foundations. Science and knowledge. Philosophy of science examines the foundations and methods of scientific inquiry. What makes a theory scientific? How should we interpret quantum mechanics? Can science tell us everything worth knowing? Personal growth. Philosophy provides tools for examining your own beliefs and values. The ancient Greek maxim, know thyself, remains powerful. Philosophical reflection can help you live more authentically and meaningfully. Critical thinking. In an age of information overload and fake news, philosophical training in logic and critical thinking helps us evaluate claims and identify fallacies. If you're interested in exploring philosophy further, start with questions, not texts. Begin with issues you're genuinely curious about, whether that's the nature of consciousness, ethical dilemmas, or questions about knowledge. Read accessibly. You don't need to begin with Kant's critique of pure reason. Try philosophy podcasts like Philosophy Bites, YouTube channels like Wireless Philosophy, or introductory books like Thomas Nagel's What Does It All Mean? Practice philosophical thinking, question assumptions, clarify concepts, and follow arguments to their logical conclusions. Apply this to everyday situations and conversations. Join the conversation. Philosophy is dialogical. Find a philosophy meetup, online forum, or take an introductory course to discuss ideas with others. Be patient. Philosophical questions often don't have simple answers. The value lies as much in the journey as the destination. Remember that philosophy isn't about memorizing what others have thought, it's about learning to think critically and deeply for yourself. As Socrates said, the unexamined life is not worth living. By engaging with philosophy, you're participating in humanity's oldest and most profound conversation. Whether you realize it or not, you already have philosophical views about knowledge, reality, right and wrong. By examining these views critically, you can develop a more coherent and well-founded understanding of yourself and the world. I hope this introduction has sparked your curiosity about the rich tradition of philosophy and its continuing relevance today. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this exploration of philosophy, let me know in the comments which philosophical question most intrigues you or which branch of philosophy you'd like to learn more about in future videos. Production notes. For the hook section, consider using quick cuts between famous philosophical quotes or visual representations of philosophical puzzles during the branches section. Use simple animated graphics to illustrate each branch for the history section. Use a timeline with portraits and key concepts appearing throughout the video. Incorporate visual metaphors. Light bulbs for ideas, forks in a road for choices, etc. Add B-roll footage of universities, libraries, and people in thoughtful conversation. Consider including brief dramatizations of famous philosophical thought experiments. Plato's Cave, Descartes' Evil Demon, etc.